invest in time and energy into your systems because it works for you 24/7. And there's a certain level of efficiency rate that can be compounded, right? If you have a high level of inefficiency throughout your entire business, that's compounded. And then you bring on someone else who wants to do the same thing that you're doing. You don't realize how inefficient it is. Now that's exponential.
Hey, welcome back to the show. Today, we have on my longtime colleague and buddy, cash-based physical therapist named Chad Kuntz. And Chad, we've known each other for, I don't know, like at least 5 or 6 years, if not longer.
I think closer to 7. And I have to thank you for the position I'm in now because you really kind of gave me that entrepreneurial taste from the very get-go. And I'll never forget those days. And those were very impressionable days. And I couldn't, thank you and Ron enough for the mastermind we had. And even the people that I still stay in touch with now, there's so many good things that we look back that we did. And so, yeah, you're probably like the first biggest impression. I think Will followed up shortly after that to kind of lead me into more of this mindset of you don't have to just be a PT per se. And as we are just saying before we started here, I kind of consider myself a full-on entrepreneur at this point, as I'm now no longer treating. I had a great run for a 7 or 8 year cash PT process and just super thankful for where I'm at and the people I'm serving nowadays.
Awesome. So we're going to help out therapists, practice owners today in regards to marketing automation, emails, texts. I know that might, like even automation, I think might scare some practice owners. This is like, I paid you, and you didn't pay to be on here. I invited you on here. I like to kind of mention some of these things, full disclosure, but I did pay you as a customer to help me with some things with emails, automations, text messages. You even ran some Facebook ads of mine, but I learned a ton. And what was great for me is like, we kind of mapped out a plan, what I wanted as a practice owner for my practice, concierge pain relief here in the city. And, right. And you helped and delivered a bunch of support that leverages a platform called Go High Level. And we're going to screen share it. So if you're watching on iTunes or Spotify, you can later jump over to the iTunes because Chad's going to share a screen and kind of just show you what he does, how he helps other practice owners. And it's been super interesting to kind of see your evolution, how you help more and more practice owners doing this. So I don't know if you have any other intro for it, other than we can just jump right into it and we'll get into, sharing the screen, showing what you do, how this could help practices out there.
Yeah, man, we can absolutely jump in and we could probably talk about this on a retreat. I mean, there's so much to discuss. And evolution was a key word you said. The amount of evolution I've had basically running this now I'm officially into this only, believe it or not, 3 or 4 months, but I've been serving people for a little over probably a year and a half. But the amount of growth that I've had by just more so being in this full time, understanding high levels capacity, which changes, I think, every day, maybe every week. If you take a step back and look at where we're at in terms of evolution and just technology, it is incredible with the technology that I had when I first started my practice about 8 years ago. And the software, the meat and potatoes actually ran my business. And we had to like duct tape everything. I don't think there was really a better way. And by the way, if another platform comes out and does what High Level does, great. There's so many different amazing platforms out there. So I'm not just only going to be a Go High Level fan. But I will say at this point in time, they do provide me the functionality to best serve specifically cash PTs in a way that I just don't see anyone else doing. I'm really loving the functionality it gives me. And I'm really loving the opportunity to go back in time and think about where I was at like 1 year in or 2 years in for some of these other practitioners and to help them just get really organized. And I will say too, just off the top, there's really 2 key points that I found are most suitable for someone to consider this. I think there's a huge inflection point as a solopreneur right before they hire, because they're already thinking about admin duties, right? And they're a therapist. And it's interesting to me now how much Go High Level in our systems can do that an admin would normally do. And there's a cost discussion there too. How much are you planning on even paying an admin? How reliable are they? Are they always going to be there? I hate to say it, like it kind of sounds funny to kick a human out the room, but it's like they'll mess up. There's a human error rate. The technology error rate is much lower. Things happen sometimes, right? But otherwise, they're probably 99.98% reliable. And more humans actually make things a little more complicated. So I think that's a huge inflection point and a great opportunity for someone to even consider their systems. And the other one I would say is just before your team gets too big, because there have been a couple of scenarios. I've talked to someone that's got 5 or 6 clinics. They've got 20 providers. And I said, no way. I just don't think we'd get there in terms of how much they wanted to cover. You can cover so little because you're talking to so many people and communication lines at the same time. So you want to try to grab it, I would say, between 2, maybe 3 therapists deep, maybe even admin or client care coordinator. But even then, the length of time to cover ground as efficient as we need to is exponential, right? So what I'm going to share with you is basically a Chad brain dump on a whiteboard. And this is the same thing. If you ever decide to work with me, I walk you through this. There's so much here to digest. And I really utilize this to provide a visual of what your business operates like, whether you realize it or not. And that's kind of the funny thing. Whether you realize it or not, you have a process. Maybe you just don't have a good process, but like that's your process, you know?
Just as an example, right? So practice owners, they're busy, they're treating patients, or they're trying to get out of patient care, whatever it is. A really quick example is you and Will on my website. You helped set up specific forms. So a prospective patient writes into our website. They choose from a drop down a list of however many it is, 5 or 10 different like condition specific things of like what they're looking. So for us, it's like orthopedic, or it's like neuro balance, right? Neuro gait balance. And within the ortho, we broke it down. So low back pain and sciatica, and then, foot, ankle, calf, whatever, like different choices for them. So you guys built that into my website. Previously, I had a website where someone fills out that form. I get an email from that form and it stops there. And then I or admin or whoever have to reach out to that prospective patient. With your system, with what you've helped me with, is you helped kind of create a slightly different form where then that gets automated. The contact information from that prospective patient gets put into my high level account. They have to put in their first name, last name, email address, phone number, etc. Maybe there's a checkbox of like, yes, I agree to text messages, SMS, whatever. As soon as they hit submit, then they will get an automated email and text message that we've drafted up, that we've written up, that's specific to even the condition that they chose from the dropdown, which is really hot, really awesome stuff.
Yeah, I love
makes
that.
It a little more customized. And in New York City, like, people want speed, they want reliability, they want a response rate. So to get an automated email and text, now if someone puts in like a fake phone number, they're not going to get the text, but they'll get the email, or vice versa. If they mistype their email address, they're still going to get the text to their direct phone number. That's just one example. I just wanted to show quick that that's what helps me. So now if we can't get to that prospective patient right away, your system has like an automated drip email and text messages automated. And the cadence and the frequency of that could be send another one in an hour or two. It could be send it again 8 or 12 hours or the next day, or then, 24 hours later, 48 hours later, checking in, whatever. And first of all, that might sound like a lot. No prospective patient, no one at all has been negative or been irritated or upset about those email and text messages. I just wanted to give that as like a quick example. Just that has helped us dramatically.
That's such a good point. And we could honestly have a full-blown conversation just around the website automations and what you can do there. For example, they've now introduced conditional formatting. So based upon what they select for you, Dave, there's a world if they selected, back pain, for simple example, you can take them to a back pain specific thank you page where you have back pain specific videos, case studies, content, and you're getting them excited around that. Just small things like that show them that you are living in their world, because that's all they see. And now they know Dave Kittle's business serves back pain really well, because that's all they care about. Their back hurts. And I've been finding that just low barrier of entries with forms makes such a difference versus the call up front. This happens all the time, but happening in recently, he had this big, ugly, a couple of different scenarios here. A Jane embed. So many people are just embedding Jane, or even at times like PT everywhere. And they're like trying to let people sift through the madness. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but there's like book an appointment with so-and-so, book a functional fitness appointment, and just a whole stream. And they're requiring people to pay for that. And they wonder why their website's not working. And then they pay money for SEO, and you can see the rabbit hole going down. Versus just let them inquire and then choose what the inquiry is, if it's performance or fitness or back pain or whatever the thing is. And then you can better direct them in the back end with the email and text. And how about you, but I've been paying more attention to this as I have random inquiries for the house and I'm just reaching out for things. I have not once got an automated text back from my inquiry on any website. As of right now, very few are doing it. And it just takes a little bit to look impressive. And so if someone does inquire on your website and they get that automated text right away, just that alone looks pretty impressive. I was crazy and infatuated with it. So based upon what they selected, I would actually have a short and sweet video sent out to them around that specific body part, only if they didn't book a call after 15 minutes. So we just stopped right there and you just embedded something like that. Your inquiry rate just from your website leads would go up, right? Because if they didn't book, and that's something Go High Level allows us to do, is we can actually see if they booked that call or not using what we call tags. So if they didn't book, we know that we can send them that follow-up message. If we don't have that segmentation, it looks bad. That's where it does kind of get bad, to your point. Why is Chad sending me all these texts and emails already scheduled for his call? That ability to take someone out of something and put them elsewhere changed the game for me. Because I used to have active campaign. I was trying to do all these things. I remember someone was a really early adopter and was like, yeah, you just do this. It's like, And I didn't want to rip the Band-Aid off at that point. So I stuck with active campaign. I was like, I'll figure this out. And like 4 hours in crazy conditions and too much clicking, I pulled it off. And I was like, I could forecast what this was going to look like if I wanted to keep using this. And I said, we're not doing that. So that was actually what made me first take the jump. So that was such a good point. I'm glad you shared with that. This is Chad's mad scientist brain. Again, if you end up working with me for what it's worth at the time it's recording, I do have a wait list. I keep the amount of people I work with very low because we are going to go deep and deep and deeper into your systems. And something I'll say, Dave, that I really enjoyed is that there's no stone unturned. If we go through your entire systems, we go through your phone system, I go through your marketing, I go through your sales process, I go through your business model, I go through your unique customer experience with your caseload management, and then we determine what happens on the back end. So are you ready to dive in?
Let's do it. The completed plan of care / what was it? Is LTM, is that long-term nurture or something like that?
You got it, brother. Yep. Yep. So you nailed it, brother. I love it. All right. So again, this is a glimpse of Chad's world. We're not going to even get remotely close to this. There's a lot to digest, and it's a part of what you can think about with this program.
And by the way, if anyone's watching this and it looks like hieroglyphics or way too much, that's the beauty of this, is like you can outsource it to someone like Chad or find someone else. I don't care. Like I don't get paid either way. So reach out to Chad. Don't even mention me. I don't care. But like, I know this could look like a lot, but at least you have it figured out as opposed to someone else having to learn it.
There's no other way that I can show you everything that could or should happen for your business without this. I played around with a lot of different ways. And what I like about this cheap, crazy app I got is that I can zoom in and it keeps this quality, and it's actually done a pretty good job for it. So what I'm about to walk you through would be the perfect systems, if you ask me. If you had everything on this embedded in your world, customized to your liking. So that's really important that we customize it and personalize it. I think you'd be elite level. I think if you had literally 5% of what you see on the screen implemented in your system, you just considered more what systems are doing for you, you already be ahead of the curve. Now, to throw a little salesy pitch in there, yes, I do done for you systems, which means you don't have to worry about building this out. I did the math, and I'm probably around 7,000 hours inside a high level. Like I put a ton of hours into it. So that means I can understand it. And I will say, it's a complex system. Let's be honest. It's a really complex system. It requires a lot of handholding, and therefore we want to attenuate the learning curve for you. And rather, I would just say, Dave, it's done, but let me teach you how to use it, because obviously it's your business. And I don't want you coming to me every hour wanting to know how to do everything. I'd actually like quite the opposite. I want to empower PTs and empower OTs, because I never had that. I was looking everywhere, and it's funny. There was never a me, and so I kind of stepped into that position to say, I want to, roll up the sleeves and really help someone with their system. So what does that really mean? Well, first and foremost, I just want to give a shout out to the phone system improvements that Go High Level has made. I want to turn your phone system into a lead generator. Okay. So many people are missing calls and not doing anything with those missed calls. This is especially crucial for a solopreneur, a little less crucial for a big team that is handling calls. But even then, we'd have a conversation around outside office hours. So, and again, I won't go through all the details. And if it looks weird and codey, it's because it is. So this missed call, what we call our deluxe missed call automation, actually knows if that contact is already in your system or not. So we can kind of have a different pathway depending on who they are. We can also understand if it's during work hours or outside of office hours or during the weekend. What this enables us to do is create a hyper-specific message to the right person at the right time. If we know with confidence it's a lead calling outside of office hours, I can send them a scheduled call link via text right there and then because we missed the call. I can also notify your team that a call was missed and the details around it. So I can have an email go out to Dave's admin if they missed a call outside of office hours versus inside office hours, and it's a client. Your admin at that point might start to think a little bit differently around the urgency and what they need to do to follow up with that person. I'm also huge on helping you with your task system. It's something I've been personally really excited about implementing for people. I've been hopping on like group team calls lately, and we're just trying to organize what are all the tasks that your team and your business needs to do. Just getting really objective. I'm hearing a lot of angst from CEOs talking to their client care coordinators and their admins. They're not doing it, and it's frustrating. There's money in the line. I get that. So how do we be as absolutely as objective as possible? So there may be a training where I sit down and say, let's go through all of the homework you'd ever want your front desk to do. And we just write it out. And then we create a task system that automatically shows up for that admin. The hardest part is habits, right? Teaching the admin to log in, look through your task system, and follow up. But the CEO says, if it's not on there, you're not held accountable. And that breathes. That's better. And if we find that something needs to be on that admin's task system, then you just create it. So you're seeing that down here. But
I'm sorry, real quick. No, I want to make a note that no EMR has any of this specifically. EMRs were obviously built for documentation, scheduling, billing, maybe some revenue cycle management stuff, depending on which EMR it is, whatever. And as far as I know, unless maybe the newer ones like Jane App or whatever, but I don't think any of them have anything like this. This is, guys, as a reminder, you kind of said CRM, customer relationship management software, which is usually used in every other world, sales world, like selling anything, like, selling software, selling coaching, whatever it is. So it's like a specific tool, a software tool or platform. And historically, like you said, there's been ActiveCampaign, which kind of was more email. MailChimp, like the original email marketing pieces, Constant Contact. Those are kind of like they're like the dinosaurs. Then there was like Infusionsoft, which was kind of more like emails and text and automations. Now there's high level, but regardless, it's a CRM, which is, there are no tools that are fully built out like this inside of any WebPT, any, as far as I know, any of the moderate to old ones. I don't know about newer ones, but I just wanted to mention, like, that's why we're talking about this. That's why you're on here. It's a different piece of software, and no, your EMR doesn't really do any of this.
Right. And with that different piece of software, there's a great skill set to customize it and build it to the team's liking. So that's where kind of another skill set jump is. We're having a fair amount of people that are moving over from Keep. One of the biggest breakers from that is solely because Keep doesn't have a phone system. Having a phone system that ties in to your CRM is massive. And so I've been personally really leaning in to these advanced, robust build outs, which are in two parts: the deluxe missed call automation, which is what I call it, which is simply if your IVR system doesn't pick up or if no one picks up, then they run through a Plinko. Remember that game?
Of course.
You remember that? That's what it reminds me of. Like you watch the person go down the Plinko tree in a well-organized fashion. It's kind of organized chaos. It's kind of a term that I like with that. And Keep, they don't have the automated text. They don't have a phone system. And I'm helping people come on over just because of that, right? They have to kind of migrate over.
And when you set mine up, you help me buy a different phone number, right? So I have I use an answering service that's a 646 area code phone number. You help me buy a 929 area code number because that's like the newest New York City available. Did I say zip code? I meant area code. Did I say zip code? Area code. If I said area code, so you help me buy a specific 929 phone number for my high level account. Just wanted to mention that too.
No, that's good. So you can find the area code that you need, and there is the potential of even porting your phone into this. So here's where the beauty is. you set up a transient or temporary phone that you get to see how it works. We build out, and by the way, an IVR system that's classical, like, hey, press 1 if you'd like to schedule a new appointment. Press 2 if you'd like to reach Dr. Dave. Nice and professional. That's what IVR system is. Once someone understands the full capability of what's been set up, they're more likely to port their main phone over because they take more advantage of the robust phone system back in. And the IVR, if you can connect that to your main phone system, and I have a couple people coming over from a landline system, my goodness, they get to port that over into here. Now they get to take advantage of this IVR system. And then there's a skill set, even like how you set up the IVR system. Like if you want, if someone calls your phone, what do you want? We're trying to most likely attract a lead, right? We want to have a lead nurturing system basically within your IVR. So now what I've done is condition if they press 1, we have a little message that they play. They come way over here on the far left-hand side, which you can't really see. We have a short voice message, which allows you to portray what you and your business are all about. It's actually a little bit of a marketing message that you get to kind of sneak right in there. And you let them know in the message, hey, if you are interested in working with this, I'm going to send you a text right now. We can schedule a call. Where my mind already goes with this is that I want to track everything. So this kind of dives right into marketing attribution. So I have a specific form on that text where if they fill out, I know exactly where they came from. And I can say at the end of the month, wow, I actually got a couple of leads through my IVR system because I literally know they pressed 1, they're ready to schedule a call right now. You can also send them to, CEOs' voicemails, your therapist. If you have a couple of different locations, that's something to consider. Something I've been actually employing recently, I'm having fun with, is if someone's not ready to work with you, Dave, they probably need more information. That's probably what it comes down to. So I have a press 5 if you'd like to watch a short video, if you'd like to learn more about us. They press 5, short voice message goes out. A text goes to them with a unique video that kind of summarizes and provides a 2 to 3 minute video of what you guys do with, again, a unique form so that we can follow up with them. And this is just one example, right? And then basically there are follow-up sequences around that process. So that alone takes time and effort for me to sit down, work through someone, customize it, but that's just the phone system. We want to turn your phone system into a lead generating, component for your business. I'll pause there before I head in. Any questions or thoughts? What do you think about this so far?
No, I'm good. You can keep rolling. Awesome.
Okay, cool, man. The next step, and arguably one of the biggest steps for someone's entire business, is marketing attribution and know where people are coming in from. We have so many holes in our virtual terrain, whether it's a link tree, whether it's a button that doesn't work, right? At some point, we will sift through your entire virtual terrain and make sure that we know anywhere and everywhere that someone's coming from. This probably isn't an exhaustive list, but it kind of gives you an idea. If someone calls in, right, that's what that means. If we miss a call, if you have an ad come in, someone direct messages you, emails you, what have you, right? So we want to make sure, and this is just homework and something I would want you to think about if you're watching this. Do you know if you're putting every and all lead into an easily visible spot? Most people, I would say up until now, are still sending everyone into a list, but it doesn't mean it's inherently easily visible. People have gotten really accustomed to lists, and people get lost in those lists. What I like about Go High Level's set up visually and their pipelines is that we put them all into a lead. So I can now see my leads, where they're at, and what we call our opportunity source, so I know where they came from. Now, on the back side of this, after they come in, it's really important to have what I call a micro nurture sequence set up immediately to follow up with someone. So I'm going to see if I can zoom in on this one, because this kind of drives the ship. You obviously had a significant conversion rate if you respond immediately. And this is some pretty well-known stats, so I kind of applied it to the therapist, right? So if we respond immediately, no matter where someone comes into your world, and we follow up a lot. In fact, the numbers tell us if we follow up 5 times or more, I'm kind of a math guy. I just know that we're going to win. We're going to win more if I follow up immediately, especially with good messaging that's consistent with your business. And then if I just stay in touch, let's just create contact points, which will be text and email. So what you're kind of seeing down here is reflective of where they came in. So we have some templates. Basically, if you ran an injury screening, I'd set you up with an automation for that. If you have a workshop coming up, we have some really nice automation templates for that. And honestly, just simple enough, just get people to show up and let them be excited about what's coming. And so that might just be a simple text and email sequence to them before their injury screening, just managing and mapping out their expectations. Here's who you'll be working with. Here's where you'll be. We can't wait to see you soon. And just check-ins with them, right? So that's a big component for both of those organic type of marketing strategies. But then also on the flip side, the back end, what do we do with people that showed up and didn't convert? Well, now we can segment that audience. What do we do with people that didn't show up, but might still be interested? Well, we have automations that go out. Hey, I'm so sorry I missed you yesterday at the workshop. I am just curious. Are you still wondering, are you still wanting to solve that back pain? And they respond back, actually, yes, my daughter got sick. Actually sounds great. Can we schedule a call? Just because you have that automation kind of built out. So again, just kind of moving along. These are just sample automations, respective of where they came in. So if they came through the website, that's our sequence. The chat widget is actually doing pretty good lately. And this is going to get me into my next spicy subject. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
The land of the bots, man. So I was really skeptical about a bot. Okay. And I was like, I just don't believe it. Because I tried AI audio and AI video, and I just don't think we're there yet. I think we'll be there in like 5 years, maybe 10. And so I was definitely skeptical with like an AI bot that could auto respond in a live format. Okay. And so in the early stages here, I would say in the past 60 days, I have a handful of people that have a live website chat widget that's connected to their bot. So someone will inquire, and the mystery there is the prompt that you give it and the intelligence of the type of bot you give it, which I feel like I've pretty well nailed now, because I feel like we have some really good responses that we're seeing in the website chat process. Not to mention, we are now allowed to let the bot book the call for us. So the person could be easily typing and the bot goes back and forth. And then it says, would it be a good time to chat? And they give a couple different options. And then they don't have to leave the screen. It just books them. And it actually goes right into your schedule to call reminder sequence. So it's a handoff, right? They go from live chat, text, what have you, and then it goes right into a book call. And now that's a conversation for, what is your pre-call experience like? It tends to be kind of watered down and diluted, like, yeah, schedule a call. But we have to make sure it's a benefit for them to schedule a call. Like, why do they want to schedule a call? What is the benefit for the customer to schedule a call? And then how can we use this like marketing terrain to educate them a little bit more about what we do to get them even more excited about working with us, right? So what you're looking at here is a split test. As they come through a pre-scheduled call process, what I found most helpful at this stage of the game is if they had tried PT, chiro, or a massage before or not, because those two people require different conversations even prior to the call and during the call. If someone's tried PT, chiro, or massage, they might be inherently a little more skeptical that you can actually solve their thing. If they're brand new, green, and you're charging a ton of money, we'll call it $350, $300 per session, whatever it may be, that might be a bigger jump for them because they don't even know what to expect. They've never done PT before. They even know what PT is. So they require some education even prior to that call. So what you're seeing here is a typical example inside a lead pipeline management. We have your leads come in. If someone replies, that's a hot ticket. So this little bell notification just means I need to notify either you or your admin so that they get in there and reply immediately. The two common conditions, of course, is if they replied to a text or if they replied to an email. I usually have an automated email that goes out to whoever had that happen so they can get in there and follow up immediately. So yeah, we continue to move forwards. The call is obviously crucial. Now let's just kind of throw this at you. If someone comes to me and says, I have a huge chunk of people who did not convert to the eval after the call, and they say, Chad, I really want to build out a robust follow-up system for them, I'm going to go, why are we struggling so hard on the call? Why is this even happening? So that's why, for me, technically speaking, it's a done-for-you systems mentorship and program, because I want to be able to help even on the call. And so that's something we can kind of dive into if need be. Jerry Durham would be proud. But yeah, making sure that the call is being handled well. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense to me if people have already made up their minds and we're just building out robust systems to people that have like pretty much moved on. It's a very low converting percentage. I'm a front loader kind of mindset. Like let's make sure we hit them at the right spots even before we talk to them and make sure we have a really good call. So I will say the leaks in the cracks, right? The do not convert to eval, or people are no showing eval. It makes me wonder what we're doing pre-call, how the call is going. And then one of my favorite scenarios, which is the pre-call experience. pre-evaluation experience. All right, we doing good so far?
Good. I know you hovered over, you hovered over workshops, and maybe after this, I want to mention how you helped me with because again, we do mobile concierge visits. We don't have a brick and mortar practice. So across the country, a lot of practice owners do like the in-person speaking or the in-person workshops. And you helped me with the digital workshop and about how we did like a form fill where they had to print out something
right, yeah.
so that I would mail them a McKenzie lumbar roll. You remember that?
Yeah, that was awesome. I'm not gonna lie. I still
do you want to wrap up and then I'll tell that story, or what?
Yeah, sure. I'll wrap up. I appreciate that. Anyway, guys, as you can tell, this is a lot to kind of go through. I mean, it is an entire business laid out. There are layers upon layers upon layers going through your caseload management system. What would you like to do to provide them an incredible customer experience as you're working with them? And then one of the biggest ROI makers is, how do you follow up with these people automatically after they work with you? I can't say enough about this particular automation that checks in with people every 30 to 45 days after you work with them, that comes from an email and text from the respective provider they work with. If you just install that, you'd be doing pretty doggone good. So I'll let Dave share the story, but I'll just kind of put a word of advice, having lived it too. I personally, I'm obviously ridiculously biased, but invest in time and energy into your systems because it works for you 24/7. And there's a certain level of efficiency rate that can be compounded, right? If you have a high level of inefficiency throughout your entire business, that's compounded. And then you bring on someone else who wants to do the same thing that you're doing. You don't realize how inefficient it is. Now that's exponential, right? And that's what happens as our people are continuing to bring on additional admins, client care coordinators, and therapists, and they're compounding and exponential with all the inefficiencies. And that's when they have had it. They're burned out, they're exhausted, they're not sure if they can do this anymore. And it's the way their systems are flowing. So I would kind of leave you with that thought.
Yeah, it's awesome. And also the thing with the emails and either the email or text automations for holidays, birthdays, whatever, I don't even know if that's in mine. So if not, I need to rehire you to check that out. But anyway,
yeah, that's fun.
So I don't know. Previously, you had helped me with. So I know a lot of practice owners do workshops, right? And I was like, well, I want to do workshops, but I also don't want to right now. I just don't want to go talk to Fleet Feet or some of these other places, schedule a workshop, a talk, or whatever. Like eventually, maybe I'll do some of that stuff or have other my therapists do it or whatever. But I was like, let's try a digital workshop, right? So we did that. Some of were the people coming from. I forget, was that we were running Facebook ads to that, correct? Was that it?
Right. That's exactly right. Yep.
So we were doing they were selecting a time, which you set all of this up. It was amazing, like just outsourced it. You did it all. They picked like a certain time. It was later, it was automated or it was already recorded, right? I started with a long maybe hour long low back pain sciatica workshop, right? And then we chopped it down. We wanted to get the view length closer to full. So it was, I think the last one was 20 or 22 minutes.
That's right.
But anyway, I'm mentioning it because part of the lead up to the workshops, they sign up and then they also, amazingly, they get the automated email afterwards, including, hey, download and or print out this workshop, 1 or 2 pages. Maybe we went from 2 pages to 1 or whatever. And I could share that if anyone's interested. It was fill in the blanks, right? It was fill in the blanks. It was
cool.
What are the parts of the spine, cervical, thoracic, lumbar, how many vertebrae in the lumbar spine, so they had to fill it in, right? So the hook was, I will send you, and it was I don't know, it was 20 or $30. I will send you a free, I have one right here.
Look at that, to the day.
and I get no money from McKenzie or OPTP, but
that's good.
I will send you a McKenzie lumbar roll for any attendee that watches the digital workshop, downloads and e-files, fills out or print it out, write in the answers.
Cool.
And if you write in all the fill in the blanks, which means you're actively engaged. So that's obviously I'm going to send you a McKenzie lumbar roll free. I pay for everything, shipping, tax. There's no catch. I'm going to send you a McKenzie lumbar roll. And you have to you have to send us proof in an email that you filled out the worksheet. And I think we paused it at some point, like maybe I sent a few out or whatever. But it was amazing. What was great is like I came up with that idea, but you handled everything. The emails, the text messages, I sent you like here's the PDF of the worksheet. And they fill it out and then they send it back or whatever. But in terms of the digital, like signing up for it, email confirmations, like, hey, your webinar or your workshop is coming up in 15 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever.
Right.
You did all that. So even if you're mobile concierge, if you're not brick and mortar, you could still do some workshops. You could literally model and steal and take that whole idea and do it. You could do it on your own. You can help, get Chad or someone else to help you with all that. So I wanted to mention that because that's also like, it was like a funny thing that we tried that definitely got engagement because the people sent back the completed workshop, which was like, I mean, you have to be listening to me every second of the workshop to fill out this worksheet.
I love it. I'm still proud of that. I think that's great, dude.
Yeah.
I'm so glad we did that.
But final thoughts and where can folks reach out to you? Website, email, Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever.
Yeah. So pretty active just on my personal Facebook profile. So just Chad Kuntz, Kuntz. I'm posting probably once every other day or so. I have a free systems course if someone wants to just kind of get in there and start learning what this is all about. So I'm happy to kind of extend that over and hand it off to you. If you are interested in more of a done for you program, we can have you apply. And as of right now, at the time of this recording, I do have a wait list, but you can do that at www.virtualmarketingmastery.com. And I like what you said, that this could be customized to almost any of your needs. So if you have a mobile, if you have a slightly different framework, things can be customized. But what you kind of started to see today is really that framework that could be built for them.
Yeah, awesome. Chad, thank you so much for your time.
This was fun, man. I appreciate it. Appreciate your time.
Always great catching up.
All right, you take care. See ya.
Hey, it's Dave Kittle. Are you a healthcare business owner or physical therapy practice owner who is looking to figure out your succession plan or exit strategy? We might be able to help. And in fact, we may be interested in acquiring your practice. If you're interested, you can reach out to me. Shoot me an email at dave@conciergepainrelief.com. That's DAVE@CONCIERGE painrelief.com, or you can call me at any time, 646-781-8884.